Wow. I've just asked my wonderful sister, Ruth, what time tonight's service starts in case I go a little bit long this morning. I have a lot to say. Any of you guys traveled 50 hours to get here? I did. And I've got a lot to say. And just so I can settle you all again, I'll be finished in about 40 minutes. It's amazing what God is doing in here. It is amazing, right? I mean, you will know what God is doing in here whether you did or you did not come to the school. You know what's going on in your house whether you're in the kitchen or the living room. Because you're marinated in the culture. And you're to display the house, to display the nature of our house. More often we do. And I'm just saying to you right now that this is an amazing house. Mom, Dad, I love you guys. It's amazing to be here. It's a privilege for me to be here. And I'll say something that I've said one or two times before. Get him, Lord. Do you want to touch that? I will say something that I've said one or two times before in the last 10 years. I'm going to preach like it's my last chance. Like it's my last opportunity, because it might be. I don't live in fear, but I know the scripture that says I do not know the day or the hour. I don't know when my life will be required of me. So I'll preach like it's the last time I get to preach. And I hope I encourage you guys. Is your flesh comfortable? Are you comfortable? Great. I hope your spirit becomes very irritable in the next 40 minutes. You may have a comfortable bottom, but your spirit's going to be shaking. I believe God is going to move. Well, I'm kind of counting on it, because it's just going to look silly, me being up here. I'm kind of counting on him moving. You see, half the time I have no idea what I'm doing, but I follow the one that does. So I can stand up here, comfortable, in confidence that if I open my mouth, he will speak through it. You see, because I turn my attention to him, I set my gaze upon him, and for the next 40 minutes, I endeavor to go into the secret place publicly. So me and my Jesus are going to have a blast up here for the next 45 minutes, and I hope you get something from it. It's absolutely amazing that we showed that heartbreaking video about abortion. I have a picture here that I took not so long ago. And it's a picture with a story on it. Let me read it. As the keynote speaker at a breakfast prayer in 1994, Mother Teresa came to Washington. Hillary Clinton was seated across from Mother Teresa. And Hillary asked her, Mother Teresa, why do you think we haven't had a woman president of yet? Mother Teresa, stern in her looks, unwavering to the question. Not missing a beat, she answered, it's probably because we've aborted her. We're killing champions. Champions. It's probably because the world has aborted her. Crazy, right? I want to just give you a little snippet of a testimony of what's happened in the school the last couple of days. You see, because if a Christian may have got to this mother who's aborting these children and told her of the hope and the joy and the security and the kingdom and the salvation that can be found in the Lord, maybe things could have been different. So we want to raise up, send out soul winners. That's our heart. Okay, so this is in the NIV. He who wins souls is wise. Now this is in my little version. He who doesn't, or unwise. I was being a little bit more kind. I want you to know that you should have a soul goal. If you don't have a goal, you'll never hit it. If you don't go after a soul, you'll never win it. We have to go after souls. And I'm looking around in this room and there's many gifted people. We all have gifts given by the same Spirit to encourage one another for the edification of the body. I want to read this to you. This is a girl who came to the school, very quiet, very quiet. Said she's never shared a faith. I'm not going to give you a name. She actually said to me, and it broke my heart. She said, I've never had an encounter with Jesus. I literally walk by faith that one day I will. Wow, that's some faith right there, right? I've given my life to him, but never encountered him. Could you imagine that? Doesn't that take some unction? I've never encountered him, but I believe he's real. I've given my life to him and I read the scriptures, so I believe I'm saved, but yet I've never encountered him. Can you imagine that? She sends me this through Facebook Messenger. I've connected her with my wife. So she said to me yesterday, or 2 days ago, I sat over there with her on one of the lunch breaks and I just poured some gold into her. And she said, I've never shared my faith. I just don't know what to do. She said, I struggle. So I get a text message this morning. I think someone stole her phone. Because it doesn't seem like the same girl. You ready? Yeah. I've spoken about Jesus to a woman in the airport. Yeah. 2 men on the plane next to me. The taxi woman who took me from Wellington Airport to the train station. The passengers in the taxi, a man at the bus station, and I just stood on the bus and told everyone that Jesus loved them. You guys have done something to me. You see, we've got to pull out the gifts. We've got to pull out the gifts in people and send them to people who need to hear it. See, because we can come to church and we can gather like this and it's amazing, but I don't think this is part of the kingdom model. Just part. You see, the scripture says go into all the world. It doesn't say bring all the world into the church, because if it is, we are standing in a church that lacks faith. Because I reckon you probably get 700 in here max. 800. There you go. So that's where our faith and it's not where our faith, but that's where the legal requirement goes. But because these know everyone's not going to come in here and they're hoping that all you are going to go out there, this place is big enough. Do you understand what I'm saying? This place is big enough because there's 500 warriors going in peace and in power into the world. So you only need 12 in a room and great things can happen, right? I want to read a quote to you. You've heard of Rick Warren? The Purpose-Driven Life? Okay, I read that 3 times whilst I was in rehab, 90 consecutive days. It was a great book. I want to read this story to you. What Rick Warren, if I can find it. Here we go. Okay, I want you to listen to what I'm saying and see if it resonates with you. If it does, great, because now you can do something about it. Okay? Give them ears to hear, Lord. There is an army of believers sitting in churches waiting to be mobilized. If we can figure out a way to turn an audience into an army, to turn consumers into contributors, and to turn spectators into partakers, it will then begin to change the world. We have all been given gifts, all of us. And I don't know about you, but when you go into like 2020, and obviously the prophets are having an amazing time with the 2020, and in all honesty, I'm glad they are, because like, where's Joe? So I was in, let me tell you this, because it's the year of double, right? This crazy man wakes up, bounces around the house like I'm not there. And he goes, hey bro, do you want me to make you an omelette? I said, go for it, Joe. He goes, okay. And he cracks an egg, 2 yolks. He goes, glory to God. It's the double harvest year. He cracks another one. 2 yolks. Now this gets my attention, so I go out. He picks out another egg and cracks it. 2 yolks. He takes out another one and cracks it. 2 yolks. 8 yolks, 4 eggs. We didn't break any more because we had enough. That's just waste. That is bad stewardship. But God is sending us out into this double harvest decade, I believe. And he's given us gifts. He's given us gifts. So, you know when we cross this line from 2019 into 2020, and on that run-up of 2020, our life's going to change dramatically because we're going to do things differently, right? It's a new year. New year, new me. I'm going to stop eating unhealthy foods. I may stop smoking, whatever it is. 2020, and you could decide this in May 2019, but you're going to wait the other 8 months until it kicks in. You know, like, no one starts a diet on a Tuesday, right? No. You got to wait another 6 days, cram it all in, and start on Monday. It would be a waste. Look at all this food after Christmas. God doesn't like waste. He doesn't like gluttony neither, but we still get it in. Don't want to waste that. So 2020 comes, and it's a new year, a new me, and some of us make New Year's resolutions, and that's, I'm not too sure I like that term, but sometimes we just set our face like flint, and we put our hands to the plow for a new year, and we want to step into it, okay? I want to ask you a question. It probably eliminates the ones who are after school, because I think everyone's heart's blown up, but is your 2020 starting to look like your 2019 already? Are you starting to go through the motions? Is it starting to look like that year you couldn't wait to get out of? And are we going to start this decade like the last one we ended? You see, I don't know about you, but 2020, I promised my wife I was going to clean out my garage. I did. I did, I promise. I didn't clean it, but I promised to clean it. That's what I'm trying to say. I went in, I had a look. I went in, I done a little Joshua and Caleb. I went out and spied the land. I came back with bad reports. Jen was like a Caleb, silence the naysayer, be quiet, get back out there. But why am I saying this? Because we have many gifts and we start this Christian walk with zeal and passion. It says in John 6:66, I find it quite interesting the way it's John 6:66. It says that Jesus says that many of my followers started to not follow me. They started to leave me. How many of us have started to follow Jesus in this passionate walk, but life has got in somewhere in the flesh, and all of a sudden it's not quite like we started? Well, it can be. It can be exactly like the day you met him right now, because he doesn't change. So you can meet with him right now, and it can almost be not quite the same, like a salvational moment, providing you're saved. You know what I mean? So I go in this garage because I want to clean it up. And I open it. I have this big double garage at the side of my house, big detached one. You walk around the drive and you open it up. Whoa. There's a lot of stuff in there. I walk in. First thing I pass is a treadmill. Just a question, any of you guys ever bought a treadmill to use? How are you getting on? Let me tell you, your preaching jacket's hanging over it, right? So there's a treadmill, and I walk past. Right in the corner was a kettlebell. You know what a kettlebell is? The one you swing? Do you know? I asked for that for my 40th birthday off my mother-in-law. This is what she said to me. You'll never use it. I said, don't speak that over me. Messing. She went, oh, Andrew, I know you, love. You won't use that. That'll go in the garage with the rest of the stuff. I was deeply offended. I was. But I haven't used it. It's there. So there's the kettlebell. Then I look over there in the corner and there's a weights bench. A weights bench! A weights bench. Doing nothing. Golf clubs. 2 tennis rackets. I bought 2. I bought them with such faith that I actually believed someone was going to come with me. 2. Never been used. Never been used. There they are hanging up. They're beautiful. Jen's like, you want to give them to our nephews or put them on eBay? So I said, I'll use them. So I want to keep the gifts. I want to keep them. I'll use it one day. Oh, I'll use it one day. Jen said, give it away. No, I'm keeping it. Cost me $40 each then. The ball's still brand new. It's never even been hit. Set of golf clubs. I went to driving range once and thought I was Tiger Woods. Bought a set of golf clubs. They've never been swung. They're there in the corner, full of dust, cobwebs. You ready? On the way back out of the garage, I noticed on the treadmill 4 bags of compost for that little garden renovation job I was about to do. Do you know what the brand of compost was? Miracle Grow. Oh boy, I need that. Why am I saying this? Because I promise you now, and I can look you all in the eye. I think you're kind of picking up on my character right now. And I can look you all in the eye, and I bought them with absolute belief and determination that I was going to use them. I want you to know this, that the Lord has bought you with absolute determination and belief that He's going to use you. Are your gifts gathering dust? These gifts that we have are for one reason only. One reason. And that is to point people back to the giver of them. They don't go in my garage. As a matter of fact, I need to get my gifts out of there. Because it's like a storehouse, a weaponry storehouse of nonsense. A treadmill. Do you know what convinced Jen? And 6 months, it was December, so 4 months ago, I had an Olympic core dropped off. Still in the garage. I'll use that one. The treadmill, I'm not too fussed on that. So I'll use this one. Give us another one, God. Give us another one. Give us another gift. Don't like that one. You don't get to choose them, by the way. Okay? He knows you better than you, and He knows how you're going to use it. Let me read some scripture. Did you enjoy that? You want to stand in my garage? Oh, boy. I didn't enjoy it, especially when I heard the back door go and Jen was following me out. It's like that trying to shut the door. Jen's like, what's in there? It's okay, love. It's okay. Oh, boy. Wow. She texted me again the other day. She said, I've seen you've been on Amazon again. What are you buying? I said, a Bible. That takes batteries and it's got a remote control. It's called a remote control car. Hey ho. Let me read some. I have too much fun here, but I won't apologise, I promise. I go to some places, man, where I don't even... Oh, gosh, yeah. There's a liberty in this place. And I'm taking full advantage of it, okay? Yeah. There's a liberty in this place. So much so I have no idea what I'm doing. Isn't the gospel fun, right? That you can bring a guest speaker in who just hasn't got a clue what he's doing. Where are we going here? Okay. Let me read some scripture to you. I do believe I'm going to do that. Okay, there are different kinds of spiritual gifts. This is from 1 Corinthians 12, okay? And we're going to read from verse 4. There are different kinds of spiritual gifts, but the same Spirit is the source of them all. There are different kinds of service, but we serve the same Lord. God works in different ways. He does. But it's the same God who does the work in all of us. Are you taking this in? A spiritual gift is given to each of us so that we can help one another. I'm going to share a story with you. Just hold it and we're going to come back to there. Someone will have to remind me where I finished. Okay? I have a sermon burning in me. It's called Don't Neglect the Knots. What we're just talking about, the net, right? Don't neglect the knots of the net. Because if we neglect the knots, we lose the harvest. I heard a story about a oneness and a togetherness. And it was from a missionary. And it's just wonderful the fact that we've just prayed for wonderful Kath. Because this is a great demonstration and a proclamation of what I'm about to say. So there was this missionary in Africa somewhere. And he was in this orphanage with tons and tons of children, like somewhere between the ages of 5 and 8, something like that. It was that year. And he has this jar of like candy, like this. This is amazing. It's like we knew. He has this jar of candy like this. And he walks about 60 yards and he lodges it in a tree trunk like this. And all the kids are like that. Like salivating, like they've never seen such stuff. And he puts it in the trunk of a tree and all the kids are like this. They're following him and he goes, right children, come on, all the way back. And you can imagine him like this, like looking over his shoulder at it. All the way back, come on, all the way back. And he's trying to build up like competitiveness in them, thinking it's the world of good. And he stands there and he goes, right kids, and they're all like this. Just they're all like listening but looking at the sweets. He goes, the first one to get to those sweets can keep them all. Is that okay? And the kids go, and he wasn't much of a sound, so he's like, okay, well, let's just start the race. So, he says to the kids, you ready? They're like, yeah. He goes, 1. Are you ready? Yep. 2, 3, go. And the kids line up in a line. And they step, synchronized steps, left foot first. And they shout, Ubuntu. 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 And one of the staff members are there. And the missionary's going, what the heck's going on? Like, why won't they win? He says, oh, no. He goes, well, what does Ubuntu mean? It says, I am as we are. Wow. These kids knew. You see, to win, someone has to lose. That's why we're victorious in Christ, because the devil's a loser. There's no winning side if there's no losing side. That's right. It's a draw. And we don't draw with the devil. We kick his head in. Right. So, Ubuntu. I am as we are. Kath is not here. She's at home ill. But she is as you are. Do you see what I'm saying? This is how we're supposed to live. Spiritual gift is given to each of us so that we can help one another. To one person, the spiritual gift gives the ability to give wise advice. To another, the same Spirit gives a message of special knowledge. The same Spirit gives faith to another, and to someone else, the one Spirit gives a gift of healing. He gives one person the power to perform miracles and the other the ability to prophesy. He gives someone else the ability to discern whether a message is from the Spirit of God or from another spirit? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Still another person is given the ability to speak in unknown languages, while another is given the ability to interpret what has been said. It is the one and only Spirit who distributes all of these gifts. He alone decides which gift is given to each person. Okay, so do you see what's happening here? This is God himself choosing to give gifts to you by the Spirit. And I'm going to break it down. Because I want you to know that every one of us here are needed by one another. Lynn, your life, you've heard me say this before, to a number of people. But I could pick you, pick you. I'm just choosing to pick you. And it's still true. Your life lived unto Jesus makes mine better. It does. Especially when you start roaring. I feel all them devils run. Your life lived unto Christ makes my life better. I come in the slipstream of your life. Your life, put your hand on your heart. Don't want anyone feeling left out. Say, my life makes your life easier. See, when we follow Christ, we're to equip one another. And this is what it's about. It's not one man as an island. It's Jesus. We're following him and we're taking as many people as we can with us. It is the one and only Spirit who distributes all of these gifts. He alone decides which gift each person should have. So if you really, really look at other people and say, I want that, without seeking the Lord, what you've done is you've made that person the center of your universe. What you've done actually is if you look straight and your eye becomes single and your body becomes light because you're not looking left or right, because you're walking with intimacy and integrity and holiness and ferventness, pursuing Jesus as he's walking in front of you. When life gets squarely, it's probably because we're looking left and right. And then we start comparing. And comparison. It's called comparison. We compare one another. And then we become competitive. Unlike these children in the orphanage. These children had the revelation of, no, actually, we have a better chance of eating if we share. These kids didn't take it as a chance. They knew the best way for all of us to win is to do it together. We are all going to win. And this is what we have to do. It's not, and yet send people out, but send them out from a family. I actually feel like I'm being sent home myself from here. I can't wait to get to Hong Kong. Woohoo! We're going to do some serious preaching in that airport. My voice will carry because it'll be empty, but people will hear it. I won't have to stand on the tables like Vicky. But I have a gift and I know that I'm going to use it because, Lynn, I'm just going to pick on you today. Is that okay? You've got this look in your eyes that makes me feel peaceful. So I'm going to choose you, okay? You're getting it today. I have this gift on my life called evangelism and communication. My mother said I would sell sand to an Arab. Overly priced as well, probably. Sow it back into the kingdom. But I have this gift on my life of evangelism and communication, of just being absolutely normal, but sharing my faith. Because this dust, this spirit, this gift won't gather dust because I will not allow it, because this one's really important to me. Do you know why? People's lives depend on this one. So this gift that God has given me and the gift that God's given you, by the way, because it says, I've just read it to you so you don't exclude yourself. By the way, we all have them. Okay? We all have the gifts. My brother Stan and his family praying for Matt. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, Matt, stand up and walk. Matt went with them and he ran into the house of the Lord. And the people that knew him, they no longer recognize him because he's jumping, shouting, and praising the Lord. Let's believe Matt. Let's put our gifts together. Ubuntu, as we are. Come on, together. Let's believe Matt will be healed. And let's believe he will stand here one day and testify that his family prayed and believed in faith that he will be saved and that he will be healed. How easy is that? I feel now that I've just merely mentioned it to you, that it's carrying more weight. All I did is say, hey, do you want in? Do you want in? Do you want in on Matt's recovery? Do you? Jesus does. And he's in you and now he wants out. Jesus said, I'm about my Father's business. That's the same Jesus that lives in you. I have a question. Will you allow him? Okay, I have lots to go through here, but for time, I'm just going to pick a few out. Hey, you don't get to choose your spiritual gifts. I'll leave that one. Here's another one. Seriously, I love it here. Like, this is the least unprofessional I've ever been. My wife's probably watching. Sorry, love. I'm 8,000 miles away. Come and get me. I'll be finished. I've only got 10 minutes. You won't get here in time. Because I'm home. And you can be different at home, right? Because you're safe with family. Have you ever had a stranger come to your house and you start hiding all the junk? Whoa, the drawers, get everything in. Don't want them to see it. But if a family member comes in, it's boots off in the corner, lounge, and you're just comfortable. That's kind of how I am in the spiritual realm right now. Boots off, comfortable, having a blast with my family. And this is what it's about, right? And I'm not foolish enough to think that some of you don't feel that in here. Let me tell you why. Complacency is a thief. Complacency is a thief. When you become used to something, you stop reaching for more. Because complacency says you've got enough. And if you've got enough, you don't need more. When Jesus is saying, I'm calling you forward, more. There's more. There's more. So when I've come here, I'm like, yep, there's more. And my city ain't going to recognize me when I get home. Because I feel different. I feel different. And I want you to know this. I'm standing behind the Lord's pulpit, speaking to the Lord's people, onto an audience of one. I know what I'm saying. I'm very conscious. It's not an emotional flesh flash, okay? I know what I'm saying in the spirit. I'm different. I feel it. Something has happened to me since I've been here. I asked the Lord to send me over there like a sponge or like a flannel. Dip me into whatever it is they've got. Bring me home and wring me out. I can't wait to be wrung out. I'll be going to Auckland, I'll be going to Hamilton, then I'll be going to Hong Kong, then I'll be going to London, then I'll be going home. And I expect to be leaving a trail of oil and sweat wherever I go, because something of what you guys are cultivating in here. Family, I am as you are. I've now saturated myself in it. It's like Mary of Bethany pouring out this wine at the feet of Jesus. But when Jesus, and you've got Judas, like he knows anything about the value of anything, he shouts across, why are you doing that? Why don't you sell it and give the money to the poor? Do you know Judas sold Jesus for 30 pieces of silver? Do you know a slave, listen to me, a slave was anywhere between 40 and 50 pieces of silver? Do you know a under-average, underperforming slave was 30?
Wow. Wow. Wow.
They sold him as an underachiever, an underperformer, slave. But why am I saying this? Because there's something going on here in Christchurch, that there's a transition of fragrance. And what happens is, when I go home, my family and my community and my church and my sphere of influence, they're going to be like, you've been with them. What's that smell? You've been with them. Who? The Jesus people, the crazy. You smell like them. Why? Because we lay everything out. Mary was the only one who laid the most valuable thing down at Jesus' feet. But yet, when they all split up, she was the only one who smelt like him. There's something in the transition of outpouring your life. I think that was tonight's sermon. Sorry, if you're coming tonight, you're going to hear a bit more about that, I think. And you're going to hear tonight, I'm going to tell you where God's address is, where you can go and knock on his door. The Bible tells us, gives us his address. And I'll be sharing that tonight. If you want to know exactly where you can find God and exactly how to find him, I want to encourage you to come tonight, because we're going to be touching on it. He gives us his address. If one suffers, we all suffer. And if one part is honoured, all parts are honoured. This is what I'm talking about. I feel different. There's been a measure put into me. And I'm sorry if I keep reverting back to the school, because some of you could almost feel then introverted and isolated because you weren't there. Listen. What I noticed in the school and what I've noticed in this Sunday service so far is that everyone's egos and logos are dropped. And you know when that happens, guess what you do? You lift up the bouquets to Jesus. You lift them up to him. Because let's face it, I guarantee you, your ego or your logo is not the one putting breath in your lungs right now. On the contrary, it might be the one that's taking the breath out your lungs. I have no idea how to land this, but I want to look at what I've got. Okay. Let's go back to my garage. See what's still in there. I think there's lots of stuff we haven't unearthed in there. Okay. It says this. Luke 9:26. Anyone who is ashamed of me and my words, the Son of Man will be ashamed of them. And he comes in his glory and in his glory of the Father and of the holy angels. Why am I saying this? Don't be ashamed of who you are in him. Okay? Do you know what I love about all you people and everyone who's come to Christ? That the revelations hit that we're absolutely useless without him. Look at us. Just look around. Just look around at one another. Right? So seriously, just cast your eye over your brothers and sisters. Right? Now look. This is the body of Jesus Christ. This is his body. If any of you forget how big God is, just look around and this is who he's using. Okay? This is it. He is happy to use you and me. So if you ever forget just how big and powerful he is, look at us. And it'll make you feel small, good. Because you realize just how big he is. And then when you're in him, you grow in stature. But it's when you get in him. Don't be ashamed of him. Share your faith everywhere you go. 5 minutes, done. And that's not an evangelist 5 minutes, I hope. But I am. I'm aiming to finish in the next 5 minutes. I have one story. For you guys that know, I'm from the UK. I live in a beautiful country called England, and I live in a wonderful city. Whoa, hang on. I'm only messing. They're going to clear my garage out, aren't they? I'm just kidding. Oh, that's fine. So, I live in a beautiful city called Liverpool. And if any of you guys know that we have a great football team, it's called Everton. I am a blue. The Lord is really separating the sheep from the goats in my city. When I worked in construction, I used to work away. You'd go and work up and down the country, and I was working on this bar. Okay, I was putting up the steel. But it just so happened to be that it was when Everton and Liverpool were playing at Anfield. No, at Goodison Park. And I couldn't go because I had a job to do, but I had this season ticket. And I gave it to my friend to go to the match. I didn't want it to go to waste. He could use my seat in the stadium. A couple of days before I was driving up the country to do this job, the contractor cancelled me and said the steel won't make it to the site for another 2 days. I've given my ticket away, and I'm not the kind of guy to ask for it back. It's like, even though I may have wanted to, I didn't. Lo and behold, another one of my friends who was in construction was going away, and he was a Liverpudlian. He said, bro, do you want my ticket? I said, absolutely. But then, obviously, of course, I'm going to Anfield, and I'm sitting with people who support Liverpool. And I'm sitting there, and if you can imagine the stadium like this, bird's eye view, that is where Everton are sitting. All the rest are the 50,000 Liverpool fans, and I'm here. Liverpool score, and I'm surrounded by Liverpool fans. And everything in me didn't want to jump and shout. But because of the notion and the uproar, I'm like, I hate Liverpool football. I just followed the crowd, right? Because I didn't want to get my head stomped on. So I'm like, this is amazing. I hate them. I wasn't even saved, but yet I'm following people that support something different than me. Do you see where I'm going? All of a sudden now that they are now encouraging me because of their lifestyle to do something I don't want to do. Everton scored, they equalise. I looked possessed. I was going... Everything in me wanted to jump up and go, in your face, devil! Everything in me wanted to jump up and shout, get in! But my surroundings silenced me. And I use this illustration, and I want you to understand. There is great, great unity between Everton and Liverpool Football Club. All my family support Liverpool. I'm the only Evertonian, and I like to remind them that I was the first one saved as well. Coincidence maybe, I don't know. There's great community amongst Everton and Liverpool, okay? So I was just putting that out there as an illustration. However, it was like the enemy put a gagging order on me. The very thing I wanted to cheer on with passion and with zeal and excitement and just real support. Because of my surroundings, I clammed up. Is that happening to you? You're supported by the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, 2/3 of the angels and everyone in here. We have a great team, right? We have a great team. But when you go out there, are you using your gifts or are you allowing the world to shut you up? I feel like we're going to go into a season where we can take out our golf clubs and hit an hole-in-one. I think we can take up our tennis rackets and score an ace. I think that we will lift these weights in the strength of the Lord. I think we will get on the race, on the treadmill, and I think we will see miracles grow.
Come on. Come on.
If we just lean on the Lord, not on our understanding. Isn't it crazy that, like, we can turn the world upside down? Like, it's crazy, right? I'm looking forward to doing it with you. Bless you, bro. Bless you, bro. Family, right? Family. Let's get this thing on with Jesus. Let's put these gifts he's given us into practice, into action. And don't worry, you don't need to go and buy AAA batteries. They'll be fueled by resurrection power. They'll be fueled by resurrection power. Constantly full power. I want you to stand to your feet if you're able. And this is what we're going to do. I don't know whether the band normally come up. We're not going to go into this big, deep ministry time. Well, we are, but you're going to stay where you are. Yeah, can we have the band up? Can we? You're going to use those gifts? Yep. This is what we're going to do, I believe. Some of you will be saying, I'm using every gift that God's given me to the full potential. Great, keep doing it. What about the people in your life who aren't? Are you encouraging them? Because one of them was to help one another. So, if you feel there's a stagnation going into this year, or even if you've had a momentarily blip of bliss and you want it to continue, sounds amazing. Why don't we just ask the Holy Spirit to reveal to us our gifts, to empower them, to shake the dust off them, to open up the garage door and come out with them. Go out into the world, but be not of it. And let's tell people about this wonderful life in Christ. The only life, by the way. And we can do it in the workplace, in the 9 to 5. Hey, who knows? One day I may use those golf clubs and I can tell someone on the golf course. We are gifted people. Get used to it. You are absolutely loved and favored, and it's not your fault. It was someone just like you guys that led me to Jesus. And I am buzzing. I'm buzzing. My life is amazing. Oh, it has hard times, believe me. But because someone like you, stepped out with the gift of faith, Jesus Stepped out one day on the 21st of January 2010. 10 years, 3 months. 10 years, 3 months. Someone like you told me about Jesus, and my life has never been the same. Thank God in that moment, Ian Aiken's gift wasn't in the garage, gathering dust. Because I may have become moth food, rust, and ended up in hell. 32 years of my life, I never once rejected Jesus. The very first time I was presented the Lord, I called on his name. And my life has never been the same. Why am I telling you that? Because each and every one of you are gifted people. Why don't we ask the Lord to reignite that gift? Some of you may not have used it for so long you forgot where you've put it. Why don't you ask the Lord to reveal to you that gift? Hey Lord, what? The scripture says that you've given us each one. What is mine? And now will you fuel it with your Holy Ghost, with your Holy Spirit, with resurrection power, because I want to go and give it to people. You can only give what you've got, right? So, corporately, family, why don't we ask the Lord? Ask him to reveal it to you. And ask him to inspire you and encourage you to use it. Let's do that now. Father God, let's lift up your voice and ask the Lord personally for you. Because he has one for you. Lift up your voice. Say, Father God, help me, show me. Reveal it to me. Take it off the hook. Take it out the garage, God, where I keep putting it. Blow off the dust. And reveal it to me. And then send me out. Send me out. Because I want to see the lost saved, the blind see, the deaf hear, the lame walk, the dead rise. In Jesus' mighty name. Guys, you are amazing. God wants to use you powerfully, more powerfully than you can ever imagine. So as we sing this song, just let the Lord minister to you and you minister to him. And believe, as from today, your gifts will be used, sharpened. You will swing them. You will allow God to lift any weight off you. Unnecessary stress, unnecessary pressure. And allow God to just use you.